A very good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of KSI Morning Brief. To begin with, global markets. Demand for safe havens rose, and global equity markets turned down on Friday after Apple said it would temporarily shut 11 US stores as coronavirus cases continue to rise, rekindling fears of a deadly second wave of the pandemic. 2 months after the predictions of the steepest recession in almost a century, the IMF will release new global economic forecasts this week that will probably look even worse. Officials at the Washington-based fund have warned that a revised outlook due on Wednesday may feature a more pessimistic view than in April. Back then, they said the great lockdown caused by the coronavirus would force a global contraction of 3% this year. US stock futures dropped in early Asian trade on Monday as rising coronavirus cases in the United States raised more doubts about a quick economic rebound from the massive downturn triggered by the pandemic. Stephen Roach, Yale University's senior fellow and former Morgan Stanley Asia chairman, has a warning for US dollar bulls. The prominent economist says that the era of the US dollar may be coming to an end and is forecasting a 35% decline in the US currency against its major rivals, citing increases in the nation's deficit. The lecturer said during CNBC's Trading Nation that the rise of China and the decoupling of the US from its trading partners is setting the stage for a dramatic weakening of the US currency in the next few years that is likely to end the supremacy of the monetary unit. Meanwhile, Roach said that China's currency, the yuan, may gain increasing appeal from investors as Beijing goes through a phase of structural reforms that could shift the country's manufacturing heavy economy to one focused more on services and one with greater consumer led growth. Next on global news. A group of banks led by Goldman Sachs Group may launch a $5 billion debt offering for United Airlines. United is tapping its frequent flyer program for the deal, the company's biggest debt sale since the pandemic. The offering may also include leveraged loans and the debt could have one investment grade rating, Bloomberg reported. American Airlines strengthened its balance sheet with 3.5 billion US dollars in new financing, diverging from its recent reliance on federal aid as the coronavirus pandemic suppresses travel demand. The carrier is selling $750 million of shares and the same amount of senior convertible notes due in 2025, American said in a statement Sunday, confirming an earlier Bloomberg News report. In addition, the carrier will offer 1.5 billion US dollars in senior secured notes and said it will enter into a 500 million term loan facility. Wirecard is now facing a fight for survival amid scrutiny into its accounting practices. The payments processor said Thursday for the fourth time that it could not publish its financials for 2019. Auditors at EY could not account for 1.9 billion euros of cash on its balance sheet, it said. Wirecard added that there were indications a trustee tried to deceive EY about the existence of those cash balances. To be clear, 1.9 billion euros represents about a quarter of the company's balance sheet. Next on COVID-19 updates. The worldwide total cases have exceeded 8.8 million and the daily cases have exceeded 119,000. The recoveries are above 4.5 million and the fatalities have exceeded 465,000. Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, the total cases are at 1,950. Daily cases were nil as of yesterday and recoveries have exceeded 1,400 and deaths are at 11. The number of COVID-19 cases in India surpassed the 400,000 mark, reaching 410,461, as the total deaths due to the virus crossed the 13,000 mark, reaching 13,254 on Sunday, said the latest data released by the Federal Health Ministry. Chinese researchers have started a second phase human trial of a possible coronavirus vaccine the Institute of Medical Biology at Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences said on Sunday, in an effort to further assess effectiveness and safety. About a dozen vaccines are in different stages of human tests globally as the World Health Organization warns the coronavirus pandemic is accelerating and the world is in a new and dangerous phase. However, none of the vaccine trials have passed large-scale, late-stage phase 3 clinical trials, a necessary step before getting regulatory approvals for sale. The phase 2 trial will determine the shot's dose and continue to evaluate whether the potential vaccine can safely trigger immune responses in healthy people. A COVID-19 tracing software tool has appeared in the settings of both Android phones and iPhones as part of an update of the operating systems. The exposure notification tool is switched off by default and is not a tracing app itself. It enables an app to run in the background while still using Bluetooth. This lets the app measure the distance between two handsets and then alert the phone owner if someone near them later tests positive for COVID-19. This tool is a part of that collaboration between the tech giants. It enables handsets to exchange data and alert people if they have been near someone who is found to have coronavirus. However, that data is not stored anywhere centrally, which what the UK initially wanted to do. That's it we have from KSI Morning Brief for the day. See you tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. for more updates.